most dangerous addiction isn't drugs or alcohol. It's the comfort of staying stuck in a life you hate. You tell yourself, maybe tomorrow it'll get better. You numb yourself with another scroll, another distraction, another prayer that feels like shouting into a void. But deep down you know the truth. You're exhausted, not just tired in your body, but soul tired, the kind of tired that makes you wonder if you're even alive anymore, or just a ghost haunting your own life. I know how that feels. I know the weight on your chest when you wake up at dawn, already dreading the day ahead. I know the way your stomach twists when you check your bank account, as if the numbers might somehow change overnight. I know the quiet prayer that slips out when you're alone. Please just let me breathe. Please let me see a way forward. You're not weak for feeling this way. You're human. And you've been fighting a battle your biology never intended you to fight. You've been running on the slave wave. That's the name for the frantic beta brain state that most people live in today. It's the brain wave of debt collectors, calling of unanswered emails, of bills piling up, while your heart feels like it's being squeezed. The slave wave is the frequency of struggle. It's the reason you can't hear the voice of abundance, even when it's whispering right next to you. It's the reason you work harder and stay poorer. It's the reason your prayers feel like they're bouncing off a glass ceiling. But here's the invisible barrier you've been up against. Your hippocampus, the part of your brain that connects you to God, to the universe, to the flow of divine abundance, has been shrunk by stress, shrunk by sleepless nights, shrunk by the weight of a world that tells you to hustle or die. The hippocampus is the organ of memory, but not just of the past. It's the organ of divine memory. It's the place where you remember that abundance is your birthright. And when it's damaged, you forget. Science calls this hippocampal atrophy. It's real, it's measurable. It's happening to millions of good-hearted people who pray, who try, who never give up. But the modern world has weaponized stress against you. Every time you're late on a payment, every time you scroll through social media, seeing someone else's dream life, every time you force yourself to believe in abundance, while your body screams no, your hippocampus gets smaller. And the smaller it gets, the harder it is to hear the frequency of wealth. The harder it is to feel worthy, the harder it is to receive. This isn't just a random biological glitch. It's a systematic dismantling. The architects of modern suffering, the ones who profit from your exhaustion, have spent decades studying how to keep you in this state. They don't tell you that every notification on your phone, every late fee, every comparison trap on Instagram is a calculated blow to your hippocampus. They don't tell you that the sleepless nights you're enduring, that's not just bad luck. That's a feature, not a bug of the system you're trapped in. Consider the late fees alone. The average American pays over $150 a year in late fees. That's $150 that could have gone toward a dream vacation, a down payment, or even just a day where you didn't feel like you were drowning. But those fees aren't accidental. They are designed to trigger a stress response, to keep your body in a state of alert, to shrink your hippocampus just a little bit more. And it's not just money. It's the constant barrage of information, the endless cycle of doom scrolling, the way your brain is rewired to crave the next dopamine hit from another viral video or another purchase you can't afford. The slave wave isn't just a metaphor, it's a measurable scientific reality. When you're in beta state, the same wave you're in when you're running from a predator, your prefrontal cortex shuts down. That's the part of your brain responsible for long-term thinking, for making decisions that align with your true desires. Instead, you're operating on pure survival instinct. And in that state, abundance isn't just invisible, it's impossible to believe in. But here's the thing, your brain isn't broken, it's been hijacked. Now let's talk about the hippocampus, because it's not just some abstract part of your brain, it's your spiritual antenna. It's the bridge between the material and the divine. When it's healthy, it's where you feel the presence of something greater than yourself. It's where you sense that the universe is conspiring in your favor. But when it's shrunk, that connection is severed. You're left with a gnawing emptiness, a sense that something is missing even when you have everything you think you're supposed to want. I've seen this in my own life. There was a time when I was stuck in a cycle of just getting by. I'd wake up, go to work, come home, scroll until I passed out, and repeat. I told myself I was just busy, but the truth was I was terrified of failing, terrified of never having enough, terrified of looking in the mirror and not recognizing myself anymore. My hippocampus was atrophying, and I didn't even know it. Then one day I stumbled upon a study about hippocampal neurogenesis. It was a revelation, the idea that your brain could regrow, that your capacity for abundance could be restored, was like a lifeline. It meant that the exhaustion I felt wasn't permanent. It wasn't a life sentence. It was a temporary state, a response to an environment that wasn't designed for my well-being. The study explained that the hippocampus is one of the few parts of the brain that can regenerate, but it needs the right conditions to do. So it needs safety, it needs rest, it needs to feel like it's not under attack all the time. And in a world that's constantly screaming at you through your phone, through your bills, through the expectations of others, those conditions are hard to come by. That's where theta state comes in. Theta is the brain wave of deep relaxation, of creativity, of intuition. It's the frequency of geniuses, of artists, of people who seem to effortlessly attract the right opportunities. When you're in theta, your brain is in a state of flow. Decisions come easily. Solutions appear out of nowhere. Money flows toward you, not because you're pushing harder, but because you're aligned with the frequency of abundance. But here's the catch: you can't force your way into theta. It's not about positive thinking. It's not about affirmations. It's about retraining your brain to remember what it's like to feel safe, to feel worthy, to feel like the universe is on your side. That's where sound waves come in. Sound has been used for healing for thousands of years. Ancient cultures knew what modern science is only now confirming. Certain frequencies can shift your brainwave state. They can literally rewire your neural pathways. And when you combine that ancient wisdom with modern neuroscience, you get something powerful, a way to bypass the slave wave, to dissolve the stress response, to wake up your hippocampus and remind it of its true size. The 7-minute sound ritual was designed specifically for this. It's not a magic trick. It's not a quick fix. It's a precise frequency, 430 to Hz, the frequency of nature, of the human body, of the earth itself, tuned to gently guide your brain out of beta and into theta. It's like giving your hippocampus a reset button. Think about it this way: your brain is a garden, the slave wave is a drought, the 7-minute sound ritual is the rain that brings the garden back to life. It doesn't force the plants to grow. It creates the conditions for growth to happen naturally. But you have to be willing to receive it. I know that sounds simple, but it's not easy, because deep down many of us have been conditioned to believe that struggle is the only path to success. We've been told that if it doesn't hurt, it's not real, that if we're not exhausted, we're not doing enough, that if we're not barely keeping our heads above water, we're failing. But that's the lie. The truth is abundance isn't supposed to be a struggle. Wealth isn't supposed to come at the cost of your peace, and miracles aren't supposed to be rare. They are supposed to be normal. The slave wave is a cage, but it's one we've been trained to believe is freedom. We've been taught to measure our worth in busyness, in sacrifice, in the number of hours we can endure without breaking. But what if that's not freedom? What if that's just another form of slavery? The theta state is the opposite. It's the frequency of ease. It's where your body remembers what it's like to be at home in the world. It's where your intuition guides you to opportunities you didn't even know existed. It's where money flows toward you because you're no longer pushing against the current. But here's the thing about theta: it doesn't come from forcing yourself to relax. It comes from safety. It comes from your brain feeling like it's no longer under attack. And for most of us, that safety isn't something we can just decide to feel. It's something we have to be guided into. That's why the 7-minute sound ritual works. It doesn't ask you to believe in abundance. It doesn't ask you to have faith. It just asks you to listen, to let the sound wave do the work, to let your hippocampus remember its true size. Because when your hippocampus is restored, everything changes. Suddenly, you're not dreading the day ahead. You're waking up with a sense of curiosity. You're checking your bank account and feeling a quiet confidence instead of panic. You're making decisions not from fear, but from a deep knowing that the universe has your back. That's what theta feels like. That's what happens when your hippocampus is healed. But you have to give yourself permission to receive this. You have to stop believing that suffering is the price of success. You have to stop waiting for a sign that's already here. The sound wave is waiting for you. It's not a product. It's not a gimmick. It's a blessing, a tool of liberation. designed for souls like yours who have prayed, who have tried, who have never given up. So let me ask you something. What would your life look like if you weren't fighting against the current anymore? If you weren't drowning in the slave wave? If you were flowing in theta instead? Would you finally start that business you've been dreaming about? Would you set boundaries with the people who drain your energy? Would you trust yourself to make decisions that align with your true desires? You deserve this, as you deserve this peace. You deserve to remember that abundance was never a fantasy. It was always your birthright. The sound wave is waiting for you. It's not a trick. It's not a shortcut. It's a return to what you were always meant to be: aligned, abundant. Free click the link. Listen to the sound. Let your hippocampus remember its true size. Let the slave wave dissolve. Let the theta state return. You don't have to keep running. You don't have to keep struggling. You don't have to keep waiting for tomorrow. The way forward is here. The abundance is here. The peace is here. All you have to do is answer the call.